Hello, my name is Ben Bredemeyer. I'm one of the five counselors at Galesburg High School, and it's my pleasure to talk to you today about orientating to Galesburg High School and choosing classes that you want to take next year. There are five counselors at Galesburg High School. The students that we serve are based on the student's last name. Mrs. Gonzalez serves students with the last name A through DAV. Mrs. Walsh serves students with the last name DAW through I. Ms. Larmer serves students with the last name J through MT. I serve students with the last name MU through SHR. And Ms. Wills serves students with the last names SHS through Z. To start out with, we recommend that students and parents look through our 2021-2022 course catalog to plan for future courses. There is a planning guide in the back of the book that will help you map out what classes you would like to take all 4 years. It is helpful to make a 4 year plan because we offer over 200 classes. And so it's important to ask yourself, what classes would you like to take before you graduate? Oftentimes it is difficult if students are scrambling their senior year to try to get classes in because they did not plan accordingly. When you look through the course catalog, one of the things that you want to look at are prerequisites. A prerequisite is another class that you have to take first in order to take the class that you desire to take. So in the example below, if you want to take Nutrition and Culinary Arts 1, which is a fancy name for cooking, you must take and pass Orientation to Family and Consumer Science. Another example is we offer a lot of art classes. If you want to take ceramics, you must take and pass Art Foundations first. So make sure you look at prerequisites. Also make sure you look at the grade level requirements. You want to make sure that the course that you want to take next year says grade 9 next to it. And then look at the number of terms. We have 4 terms at Galesburg High School, which is no different than quarters. Each term lasts for 9 weeks. So if the elective class that you're picking is a 1 term class, that means that class will last for 9 weeks. If it's a 2 term class, that class will last for 18 weeks, or essentially half the year. And if that class is 4 terms, that means it's going to last for the entire school year. So at this point, I'm going to show you how to access our course catalog from the website and some of the things that we just talked about here and what it looks like in our course catalog. If you go to the high school website and click on Explore and then for students, you'll notice there's a link here for the 21-22 Galesburg High School course registration information. And if you click on that link as it's loading, there is a link for, first off, for the PowerPoint that I'm using for today's video, a handout that goes along with the PowerPoint, and then a link here for the course catalog. And so when you open the course catalog, this is what it looks like. And you can see it's a lot of pages. So at the beginning of the course catalog is just some informational things, phone numbers, it's got principals, counselors listed. Here is our table of contents. And then we get into the courses starting on page 9. There's information here to the parents, to the students, graduation requirements, how many credits you need to be freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, college requirements, academic hall of fame, Illinois Seal of Biliteracy, some of the awards that we hand out, Principal Scholar, Presidential Scholar, Illinois State Scholar, Academic G, Honor Society, advanced placement courses, and some grading system things. And you're welcome to read those on your own or reach out to us if you have further questions. And then we get into the actual courses. So let's start here and use this one as an example. Intro to Agriculture Industry. AG 100 is the course number. You don't need to worry about that. The number of terms that the class is, it's a 2-term class, which means it's going to last for 2 quarters. The number of credits awarded, it's a full credit because it's 2 terms, and it's grades 9 and 10. So you could take this class as a freshman. There is no prerequisite listed, so you do not have to take another class before taking Intro to Agriculture Industry. If I scroll down to art, because I used that as an example earlier, let's say that you want to take ceramics. And so we have the course number. It's a one-term class, which means it lasts for 9 weeks, and therefore it only awards half a credit. Can be taken in grades 9, but here it shows a prerequisite of art foundations, which is listed up here. So those are some of the things that you're going to want to look for. Does the class have a prerequisite? How many terms is it? And can I take it in 9th grade? As far as your core classes, your English, math, and science, a lot of those classes are going to be predetermined already based on your Scantron or iReady scores and your 8th grade teacher recommendation. If students wish to be in Honors English 9 or be in Honors Math, they will take a assessment here in the coming weeks to demonstrate if their skill level is high enough to be in an honors level English or math course. So really, when it comes time for students to sign up for courses, you're really just picking what we call elective courses. So these are not English, math, science, or social studies. Other classes such as agriculture, art, business, technology, family and consumer science, industrial technology, maybe PE, music, band and choir, maybe world language, things like that. As far as PE and health, any student that is not in band will be required to take one term of freshman sophomore PE and one term of health. If a student auditions and makes color guard, and these are the flags that go along with the marching band, color guard takes the place of PE. So color guard students may opt out of PE. Students do have to audition to be in color guard, and there'll be information about that later in the year. Students are in band do not have to take PE. Marching band counts as the PE credit. And they will split their class time, terms 3 and 4, between symphonic band and health. So you'll go to band for portion of the period and then go to health for portion of the period. Or alternate days where maybe on Monday you're in band and don't have health, but then on Tuesday you're in health and don't have band. So I'd like to show you some sample freshman schedules. In this example, the student has English 9 first block, terms 1 and 2. You'll find that most of our core academic classes last for 2 terms. Classes are 84 minutes, so first block is 7:40 to 9:05, 85 minutes. Then that student in this example has Algebra 1A, second block. Advocacy is in the middle of our day. Students will have the same advocacy all 4 years of high school, and that's a good time for students to work on homework, get help from their teachers, or build a rapport with the other students and the teacher that is in their advocacy. In this example, the student has science third block, and they have a lunch, and so I'll talk about how the lunches work here in a little bit. And then whatever elective the student has fourth block. You'll notice term 2 is pretty much the same, English, math, science, and then possibly a different elective second term. Term 3, which usually starts in January after winter break, you'll notice in this example, the student has all new classes, civics first block, algebra 1B second block, advocacy, health third block, which now has D lunch, and then a different elective, elective 3. And then term 4, civics and algebra 1B are the same, advocacy, now health ends and the student has PE, still has a D lunch, and then a different elective. Now, I want to point out that this does not mean that all freshman students are going to have English 9 first block, Algebra 1A second block. Students could have English 9 fourth block, or they might have it terms 3 and 4. Those decisions aren't decided until closer to the start of the school year. This is an example of an honors schedule, and it's pretty similar to the one I just showed you, where Honors English 9 first block, Honors Algebra 1 second block, biology third block, elective 1, term 2, first 3 classes are the same, and then we have elective 2. Term 3, all new classes with civics, honors geometry, health, PE, and then elective 3 and 4. The last example I want to show is an example of a band schedule to show you that split between band and health. So again, using the example of English 9, Algebra 1A, first and second block, Physical Science, third block, and then band, fourth block, marching band, term 1, and then symphonic band starts term 2. Terms 3 and 4, civics, first block, Algebra 1B, second block, and then here's the band health split, third block, and then elective 1 and 2. So band students only have the 2 electives in their schedule. As far as how the lunch periods work, we have 4 lunches, lunch periods A, B, C, and D. Our lunch periods are not set up by grade level. Our lunch periods are based on whichever third block class you have. And typically the lunches are by department. So I use science as an example in the third block schedule, and a lot of our sciences have a lunch. So this means that after advocacy, you will go to lunch, and then after lunch, you will do your entire third block class. If your student has B or C lunch, you will notice that the lunch is in the middle of class. So the student will go to third block for a little bit, then the class will leave and go to lunch, and then come back and finish up third block. Typically, our math classes have B lunch. C lunch, same thing, it's in the middle. Students will go to third block for an hour, then go to lunch, and then come back to third block for about a half an hour. Typically, our English and social studies class have C lunches. And then D lunch at the bottom, the student will have do the entire third block class and then go to lunch, and then after lunch go to fourth block. So typically classes like world language, health, PE, some of our elective classes have D lunch. But that is how the lunch periods work. Your lunch is attached to your third block class. So, oftentimes we'll get freshmen that ask, hey, can I switch lunch periods? My friends have B lunch and I have A lunch. That's not something that we can accommodate because it would mean, completely changing your schedule. And a lot of times our classes are full. An important reminder that you must have a ninth grade physical before you start high school. That is a requirement by state law. So I encourage you to tell your parents about this, and to the parents that watch this, I encourage you to schedule your appointments as soon as you can. Sports physicals do not count as the ninth grade physical. The ninth grade physical can count as a sports physical, but the sports physical does not count as the ninth grade physical. Driver's ed is always a popular question amongst incoming freshmen and parents, and how that works. So for next year, if you were born on or before November 1st, 2006, you are eligible to take driver's ed next year. It is a state law that students must pass all their classes from the previous 2 terms or 2 quarters. So what will happen is we will look at all the students who sign up for driver's ed that were born on or before November 1st, 2006. And then we will place those students in chronological order based on birth date. So the oldest students in that window get into term 1, and then term 2, term 3, and then the youngest students get into term 4. Let's say, based on your birth date, that you are eligible to take driver's ed term 3 next year. So that means you must pass all your classes, terms 1 and term 2 next year, to be eligible for driver's ed. Let's say, based on your birthday, you're eligible to take driver's ed term 1 next year. That means we're going to look at your 8th grade grades from third quarter, which is right now, and fourth quarter, and you must pass all those classes to be eligible for driver's ed. If you sign up for driver's ed and become ineligible because of grades, the next opportunity for you to take driver's ed will be term 4 of the 2022-2023 school year. This is to ensure that as many students as possible have the opportunity to get their license by the time they turn 16. So please make sure, if you want to take driver's ed next year, that you are working hard academically to pass your classes. There is a $250 fee for driver's ed. You can call the high school if you are in need of financial assistance or are free and reduced lunch and having that fee waived. There is a $20 fee for the permit test. That goes to the state of Illinois and cannot be waived. Typically, students will take the permit test about a week before the term in which they take driver's ed starts. Fees are subject to change and need to be paid in order for the student to remain registered for driver's ed. As I mentioned, the permanent test is given the first 2 weeks of class. Students need to complete 30 hours in the classroom. 6 hours of driving with the driver's ed instructor, and 50 hours of driving with their parents, in which 10 of those hours need to be at night. Students can only miss 4 days of the driver's ed class in order to complete the 30 classroom hours that are required to get your license. Students who miss more than 4 days of driver's ed will have to retake the course. This is a state law. For more information about driver's ed, go to cyberdriveillinois.com. We offer lots of extra and co-curricular activities, clubs, and sports here at Galesburg High School. We really encourage students to get involved as much as possible. The extracurricular and co-curricular activities are important to the development of your student while you are in high school. Colleges and employers love to see that students are involved in athletics, clubs, and other activities. You can check out the high school website for more information about what clubs and activities we offer. Also, when you fill out the Google form for your classes, the last section of the form asks if you are interested in any of the clubs or activities that we offer here at Galesburg High School. I just want to talk briefly about graduation requirements. This table kind of shows the difference between what is required to graduate in Illinois and what the requirements are to get into college. And this is where that planning ahead feature that I talked about at the beginning is very important. Students need 8 terms of English to graduate high school. They also need 8 terms of English to be accepted into college. So there is no difference. 6 terms of math are required through geometry, 4 terms of algebra, and 2 terms of geometry to graduate from high school. Students who want to go to college need to go through Algebra 2, possibly even Algebra 3, depending upon the colleges that they're interested in and what they want to major in. So you're looking at taking more math. 4 terms of science are required to graduate high school. Most colleges want that third year of science, so you're looking at 6 terms of science, an extra science class junior or senior year. We require 5 terms of social studies. Colleges would want 6 terms of social studies for being accepted, so there's 1 extra term involved. The biggest difference is we do not require a foreign language, world language to graduate. We offer 3 languages here at Galesburg High School: Spanish, German, and French. However, colleges like to see students complete 2 levels of a foreign language, so Spanish 1 and 2, German 1 and 2, or French 1 and 2. And some colleges would like to see students go all the way through level 4. It's also important to point out that if you do 2 levels of a foreign language in high school, you may be asked to do more foreign language in college. But if you go all the way through level 4 in high school, more than likely you won't need to take any foreign language in college. And I should point out that these college requirements are for 4-year colleges and universities. So the sign up process, there is a Google form. This is the link, bit.ly/GHS grade 9. The form will close at 3 o'clock on March 12th. So if you do not complete it, that means your counselor will be picking your elective classes for you. You may only complete the form 1 time, so make sure you have the classes on there that you want before you hit submit. If you have questions or make a mistake or change your mind after you submit the form, just email your counselor. I will provide the email addresses here in a moment. I should point out that it is important for you to pick elective classes that you want to take. If you pick elective classes just because your friends are and you're kind of lukewarm or not sure if you really want to take that class, but you're picking it because you want to be in class with your friends, well, there's no guarantee that you guys are going to have that class at the same time. So I will use, let's say, orientation to business for an example. Let's say you're picking that, you're okay with it, but really you're just picking it because your best friends are. Well, your best friends might have orientation to business term 1. You may not have it till term 3. And so now you're disappointed that you did not get to take it with your friends, and you come to see your counselor to change that class. You may not be able to. Our classes fill up, our schedule gets really tight, and it becomes difficult to change schedules. So make sure you're picking the classes that you really want. I do want to show you that Google form at this time. This is what it looks like. And I will show you me walking through it. So name, where you go to school, going to ask if you are interested in any of classes within certain departments. So first up is agriculture. If you're interested in any of those, just check the box. Each department's going to have the option, if you're not interested in any of those classes, to check that box as well. If you're interested in any art courses, remember you must take art foundations first before you can take any of the others. Business and technology, if you're interested in any of those. Family and consumer science, if you're interested in any of those classes. Industrial arts. If you're interested in any music classes, maybe you're interested in choir. It's going to ask you about PE and health. If you're a non-band student, you will click the first one, freshman PE and health. If you are a band student or taking color guard, you will click the second button. If you want to take more than one term of PE, you may, but you do not have to. It's going to ask you if you were born on or before November 1st, 2006, and if you want to enroll in driver's ed. Now, if your birth date falls where you're eligible to take driver's ed, you don't have to take driver's ed. You can always click no. I should point out that if you click no, that you don't want to sign up for it, and then you decide come August that you do, more than likely the class will be full and you'll be put on a wait list. There is the opportunity to take extra core classes within some of our departments. Maybe you really like reading and writing and want to take a novel class or a writing class. Maybe you really like science and want to take an extra science class, or history and you want to take an extra social studies class, or maybe you're eager to get started with your world language and want to take a foreign language next year. Then it's just going to go through the different departments and kind of get a gauge of how interested you are. Maybe you signed up for art, but you're somewhat okay with it. It's not your most favorite thing, but maybe you're really into business. And so you'll just go through and choose if you are not interested at all, somewhat interested, or very much interested in each of the departments. And then it's going to ask you, what are your top 4 electives last year? So, when I was in high school, I was in band. I really like industrial technology, so woodworking, 1. I really liked PE, and I really liked business classes. So let's say I put those 4 down. Then it's going to go through and ask you if you're interested in any of the sports that you want to play next year. Personally, I was a swimmer in high school, so I'll just check that box. And then it's going to ask you what clubs and activities you are interested in for next year. So you can go through and click on the box if you're interested in any of those. And then you are ready to hit submit. Now remember, once you hit submit, you can't go back and make changes. So make sure that you have everything filled out to the best of your ability. And like I said, if you submit it and change your mind about a class or you made a mistake, just email your counselor. These are our email addresses. If you have questions, we encourage you to reach out to us via email. That is the best way to contact us. We can either answer your questions through email, or for the parents watching, we can set up a phone conference, or we can even set up a Google Meet if you have further questions. I hope that this video is helpful for you. I hope it explains the process about our course catalog, the courses that we offer, and the registration process for picking your classes for next year. At this point, all the students are doing is just really providing us a list of what classes they want to take next year. As far as the actual schedule, what terms they have the classes, what block, which teacher, which room, that takes time to build. That information is typically not released until August as we get closer to the school year. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions.